Welcome to Basic Binges, part of Nom Talk Network. So on this show, we review popular shows that are out now while eating and drinking our favorite binge-worthy snacks and drinks. And of course, don't forget to redeem those channel points. There's a lot of fun ones. You can make us do random stuff. Make sure we stay hydrated, please. Please. Please redeem hydrate, because I forget to drink water. But I am your host, Yaya. And right now I am eating homemade dumplings. So my mom and I made it ourselves, like the filling and the skin. So, well, technically they're pot stickers, but still, same thing. Oh. Same thing. I am drinking some jasmine green tea just to match with the vibes. I do also have lemon water just in case, because I'm really not hydrating very well these last couple of days. But anyways, I am joined by amazing guests. I am stuck on my chair. Hi. Let's start with you, Mike. Introduce yourself and what you're nomming on today.
Hello, I'm Michael Lee. I write for Geeks to Do. Oh, sorry. I used to write for Geeks to Do, but now I write for That's It LA, We Live Entertainment, and The Nerds of Color. And I'm nomming on some pupusas. But I'm eating it with chopsticks, so I can just to prove my skills. I also have some peaches right here. So, yep. And I have a water, a whole canister of water.
Healthy. I love that. And Kenji, introduce yourself and what you're nomming on today.
Hey everybody, my name is Kenji. I am an actor and martial artist, stunt performer. I have not found something to nom yet, but I do have some water here. Oh my gosh, again, my things keep, there we go. There's my water. But I know, it's my invisible drink. Anyways.
Awesome.
But yeah, I'm just sipping on some water right now.
Yes, water's life. Water's life. Yeah. But anyway, so we are talking about the last 2 episodes. Oh my god, it's the last show, but it's the last 2 episodes, episodes 7 and 8 of American Born Chinese on Disney Plus. Oh my god. It seems like there's I don't know. I'm looking at Kenji's face and I'm like, oh, Kenji, would you like to start with what you thought? I'm like really curious because we didn't hear, so I'm curious. Would you like to start with commentary about these last 2 episodes?
I am really hoping that if they do make a season 2, that like Ki Kui Kwan, it turns out like he's actually like one of the gods. I'm really hoping he's one of the gods and that he has a much bigger role to play because he is so much better than to just be relegated to just a side character. Like he literally had nothing to do with the plot. And I mean nothing to do with the plot. His story should have been the dad's story. I am sorry, like it was the more interesting story. It just feels like, and I don't know, like I'm not saying that Mr. Chin Han is like a bad actor, the guy they originally have playing the dad right now, but it just seems like you have someone so awesome in the show. Like, is it because was it scheduling? Like, why didn't I don't know.
I honestly just think it's bad planning, just in general. Like we've had issues with this show from the beginning till now. I don't think it's just scheduling. I think it's just bad planning. Mike, what do you think?
I think it's bad planning and just too many things to go around, honestly. There's so many characters and like you could have either just not have them or put parts of them together, because this is an adaptation. It's not going to be, straight up page by page sort of thing. But yeah, these last 2 episodes, Ki Kwan's, it almost felt like he was just there for that kind of purpose, just to say, I want to be seen more. It's like, okay,
as a hero.
as a hero, we get that. That's great, and that's a message we need to hear. But it feels like he was there just for that
Yep.
purpose. I wish there was it almost feels like he's the token he's a token agent inside of an Asian show. And it's like, why? Why is he
Oh
saying these things again? We already we already it's not like again, it's not that we don't need to hear. We do need to hear it,
my.
but it just feels so contrived. It like
Yes.
we that's basically what it comes down to. So it's just
Yeah.
the scripting. I think I want to. What does Kenji have to say now?
I know, like, Kenji, please.
I'm just saying, like, it should just be the dad. It should have just been the dad.
Yeah, that's exactly. You can fuse the characters together. You don't have to do this whole shtick of, he's the actor of this unknown show that has problems all on its own. We'll talk about that later, but it's just like, okay, it would have been great if the dad was the actor too, or something like that. So
yeah, no, I agree.
You don't have to separate these two characters.
I think like this show in itself has just been there's just too much stuffed into it, and it's just breaking at the seams. I agree. I really hate that they made like Jamie's character basically like the mentor, like it's not even like a good mentor of like the heroic journey. He's just like a random like just like there and be like, and then Jin's like, oh, kind of thing. Anyways, so before we get ahead of ourselves, we obviously have very strong feelings about these last two episodes. But let me just kind of break it down. It's so we left off with Nyoma Wang, the bull demon, like kidnapping Sun Wukong, and then wei-chen's like sitting there being all sad, like they took my dad. So the next episode starts with like, okay, you know what? Well, like, Jin's finally being a good friend. Jin's finally being that good friend and be like, we're gonna get your dad back. Let's go finally talk to your aunt Guanyin Pusa and like, let's go figure it out. I don't know, but did Michelle's like character rub you the wrong way in this scene like it did me? I felt like she just got sinister all of a sudden for no absolute reason. Like, her character got dark a little. I don't know. Did you guys feel that?
It was quite a turn, honestly, because she was so gung-ho about, helping other, wei-chen really out. And then all of a sudden it's like, no, you have to figure this out. It's like, whoa, where did that come from, honestly? So,
right?
Yeah.
It's suddenly it's like, oh, dreams don't all come true. And I'm like, that's not the point. It's not a dream. It was supposed to be a prophecy. It's supposed to be this whole thing. You're suddenly dreams. It's not a random dream. Anyway, so I was kind of like, this episode kind of made me feel weird because it just felt like not everything was very cohesive at all. Like, out of all the other ones, this one was really weird for me. But yes, we suddenly get like, they're saying that, oh, like, Guanyin Pusa's like, dreams don't all come true. We're gonna go home now. See ya, apparently. We're gonna like just leave you to defend yourself like against this like bull demon with like this powerful weapon, but see ya.
And then Jin was very forgiving too.
Jin was actually.
He's like, "Hey, you stole my pendant, but that's okay. Whatever."
Yeah, like as I said, I'm like, wow, he's actually he's the bigger person here. I feel like probably here is where Jin had the most character development.
Yeah.
Weird character development, not very natural character development, but character development. And let's see, and then we get of course, and then we get that scene with Jamie, with suddenly they're like on the show, and this scene actually, again, I feel like Jamie's storyline is the strongest out of everything. This scene actually made me cry when I watched it because it was so heartfelt, and you totally can tell that like the actor was really actually speaking from his role, speaking from his own heart, speaking from his own history, because that's what exactly happened to him. So I think that's what made it really, really strong, is because this is actually what a lot of POC Asian actors or people in the industry do go through every single day, even to this day.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you guys feel up until this point with everything that is going on, from the Sun and Weird storyline, and everything's apparently rushed now to like this, and Jamie being used as the weird. We talked about how like we use as a weird mentor, but I'm like, we want to see more from him. But how did you feel about storyline wise up until this point, Mike?
Well, I kind of alluded the way this whole thing is executed, it makes them feel like the token Asian. But if I were to look at it individually, it's amazing. It really works. I really liked it at its face value. Um, his words, how he didn't want, or he wasn't so comfortable of saying, what could go wrong, how wrong. And it really resonated because that's how he's been felt. He's been relegated to say these cheesy one-liners, and they're obviously offensive to him. But now he wants to be portrayed more as someone who's human. He doesn't want to be I don't want to say he doesn't want to be the hero, but he just wants to be seen. And that's how everybody wants to be like, especially POC characters, because we've been through so much and we've been relegated to these awful stereotypes. Sometimes we're treated as monolithic characters or monolithic people. So it's nice to see that we can get this kind of moment, but how it tries to make these connections to Jin's story and the overall thing, it does not work. I just did not like it, but on its face value, I loved it. So yeah.
Awesome. How about you, Kenji? You're just like sitting there. I can see like the thoughts brewing.
He wants to say something.
I mean, I've been saying something for this entire series. It's because the thing is, it's like on its own, yes, it's good, but also it just seems like just the way everything's going. It just seems like everything's just kind of getting rushed. It's almost like this was written for 16 episodes, and then they were given only 8, and then they're like, well, okay, let's try and figure this out. But that's why I feel like I'm wondering, like, that's why everything feels so drawn out in some situations, because like it just seems like everything gets rushed at the last minute, and like, it's like I don't know.
No, I completely agree. Especially like half of this season was just weird buildup that wasn't needed, and suddenly we get in these. That's like I really hate about it was we just suddenly get exposition in these this last hour basically, and it's so off-putting.
Like I'll say this about what Kenji said: it feels like it was made for 16. And they made 16, but then somehow they just took pieces of each of the other episodes and put them together. Like, okay, it's weird.
Agreed. Okay, and then so we also at this point we start. Oh, okay, hold on. Let's see. Let me go to the comments before. So Q, hi Q, is hi all my favorite people, and then Nom Talk Network is like hi Q, thanks for joining. As always,
Q rocks, dude.
Q's amazing.
Dude, he said no. I mean, like he actually like rocks. He sent me some things on Instagram the other day, and he was just like rocking out like Led Zeppelin and stuff. It was awesome. It was really
his
dope.
YouTube channel. Yes, shout out to Q and his YouTube channel. Like, guys, go check it out. Q also said watching the old Let's Make a Deal now at the same time as I watch the stream. This is so ironic because I was just on Let's Make a Deal. I was on it last year, but the apparently my episode reran yesterday, and my teacher like texted me. Yeah, Hama's in it too. If you guys can find the episode, Hama's in that episode. I think he was like, I have a funny pun. Here it is. I'm glad it's payday, but I'm sad because I only got a candy bar. Okay, and then Q redeemed Hydrate, and Nom Talk Network redeemed Hydrate. So we got to hydrate twice, guys.
Okay.
I just took a sip, so I'll do another one.
Oh, I got trash on my cup.
I like doing this to make it disappear, so it looks like I'm drinking nothing.
Drinking nothing. Yes.
Well, it's not doing it anymore.
It only does it when you don't want it to.
Yeah.
So we also start getting we see a lot of tension. Jin's mom was all like, hey, I'm gonna go see your aunt in Sacramento, and Jin's like, are y'all getting a divorce? It's like that divorce kid, like, what's going on? Is it me? But it throws him for a loop. and he goes to school. He's like, his mind's kind of like messed up, and then he gets into an altercation. And then this scene happened, and I was so freaking pissed. What the like? I wanted to punch the principal so bad.
Yes.
Because if you guys have not seen the show, I'm not like the principal is printer paper colored. um so Jin gets sent to the office because he pushes the mascot into the thing, even though the mascot like basically shoulder checks him. And I'm just kind of like, Jin's justified. Anyways, he gets called to the office, and then we get that wait, am I in the right episode? I am, right?
Yeah, you are.
Yeah, okay. You're on the right episode. Yeah.
They're just making sure. I
read the wiki. Okay, I'm sorry. I watched it, but I couldn't, like we said.
I just rewatched it like an hour ago, and I'm already kind of like, oh my god, wait. Anyways, so Jin's parents gets called in, and of course, Jin's like, during this time he watches that video of Jamie talking about being the hero and that kind of stuff, and you can tell it's supposed to speak to Jin. It's supposed to like inspire him to be the hero, to take whatever, but it's kind of done in a really weird way, and I feel like it doesn't do Jamie's character justice. But we'll move on from that. You get the scene. The principal's all like, oh yes, people like, like children from family like yours, like, deal with so much different stuff. Like, we should do something. And then like she basically low-key insults the mom and calls her a bad mom because their like household is achievement based, and how they need to plot that card thing. I was livid when I saw this scene, because I was like, this anyways, Kenji, how did you feel when seeing this scene?
I mean, like, it was very well written.
Mm-hmm.
I felt like it was very well written because I have witnessed some pretty tone deaf things come out of some people before, and you're just kind of, and I mean, nowadays I feel like people are, I think, more comfortable kind of like calling people out on that sort of thing. But like, even so much as like even 5 years ago, it was still kind of hard for, people like us to really call people out. You just kind of feel like, you just feel like this, you got to be the silent, acceptable minority in a way. But I mean, so like, I loved that the dad like was able to speak up the way that he did, which was also why I'm saying it would have been a hell of a lot more meaningful if the dad was also Jamie, because you could still have the whole money situation being like, hey, we can't make buy on just the residuals from your show and like being the landlord of this freaking like place that we're living in, this apartment that we're living in, because they live in an apartment. They literally live in an apartment. So they could have literally easily, like, Jim lives in an apartment, doesn't he?
No, he lives in a house.
It's a house. Okay. But it could have been an apartment. Why not?
It could have been an apartment. It could have been an apartment. Yeah. Sorry. That's right. No, it's the, I got it mixed up with the
restaurant.
Jamie lives in the apartment. I think.
The apartment. Yeah. But that's what I'm saying though. It's like, so that way it's not just like some random like YouTube video being like, I gotta be somebody. It's like being inspired, like not just by like a video, but like his father. Like, I mean, yeah, we could have still had the whole situation with the principal going on, but I feel like it's a much bigger statement for his father to have been like, it's like, holy shit, like dad's always been the quiet one, like not really saying much, all this thing, but then for him to finally come out and stand up for himself like this, it's like, I gotta stand up for myself too. Like, I mean, I don't know. Maybe I don't know, because it just seems so convenient.
Yes.
It just seems so convenient.
Yeah.
It's like, it's like, thanks to the YouTube algorithm, this thing just happened to scroll up on my feed, and I just decided to watch it, and I was like, oh man.
Oh no, Anu sent him the link.
Oh, even so, even better. So it's like, Even more like serendipitous. It's like Anoob's algorithm was like, "Hey, you think you should check this out?" And Anoob was like, "You know who should really like this? My friend Jin,
My Chinese
My
jeans.
Chinese.
my Chinese friend Jin."
Well, it's because like Jim was on the cliff. It's because he was like, "Oh my God, you're on TV. You should watch it," and that's what led to it. But no, I agree. I think a lot of things could have been a consolidated a little bit more for a more like powerful message and a more powerful narrative as opposed to what we got. So, what about you, Mike?
Yeah, I just have to agree with you what what Kenji said, because honestly, Jamie being the dad, it would have been a lot better. There are these sort of, you just have to jump through all these hoops, and I'm like, okay, where is this going? Like, all right, we have to make these sort of connections, and it's just like one wild, like, double dare obstacle course you have to work with, because you have to do these things to make sure it's narratively connected to that one other. It's just so convenient for all these things to happen all at once, and just I really couldn't accept it. It's like, all right, I think that it would have been better if, Jin's dad stood up for himself, if it was like Jamie, like Kenji was saying,
Mm-hmm.
and just I don't know. It's just Chin Han is great, and I love that he was able to stand up, for himself, and
Mm-hmm.
defend his wife and Jin's mom, and and Jin's mom also was able to stand up for herself. Like, this is not, it's not what you said on that piece of paper. We're not that piece of paper. Now that's just great,
Plot.
but it's just plot. See, I don't even
Plot.
remember what it's plot is like. Oh my god. Alluding to what also Kenji was saying, because it's better that we can call that stuff out now.
Mm.
And I could understand that, how maybe couple of years ago we couldn't do that. It's just because, like he was saying, we're just kind of the silent minority.
Mm-hmm.
We just don't want to, we don't want to rock the boat, sort of thing. But now that's become more acceptable. But the way the show tries to execute that, it's just, no, I can't accept it, really.
It's a little cringe, not gonna lie. It's a little
Yeah.
cringe. It gives me icks as like an Asian viewer, like personally. It's just like some of the stuff I'm just kind of like, I like that they're bringing attention to it, but sometimes the execution was just kind of like ew kind of feeling for me personally. But we also have like the weird storyline, of course, with Nyomo Wang, like Sun Wukong is their prisoner with the mirror stuck in his stomach. And like, I'm sorry, it was so cheesy here for me personally. It was like So Wukong trying to appeal to like, yo, no, like Mo Wang, this isn't like you, this isn't you. And of course, Mo Wang goes like, you don't get to tell me who I am anymore. And I'm just like, why did you have to do all the cliches? They just all the cliches were just basically in these next two episodes, this one and the next one. And of course, you also get the part where he tries to appeal to like Ji Gong, be like, if you help me escape, I will bring you back. And I'm like, why would anyone believe you, So Wukong? Like, you're the one that kind of effed them over or in the past. It's like, ah. But of course, so like this episode overall, I was very it was just more for me all over the place. It was really weird, and it it started like it like tried to like solve some of the problems. It's like setting like places for the next episode for like things to like settle down, for things to resolve. Like you're here, you have like the parents like kind of having they're communicating more, yay, and all that kind of stuff. But overall, what did you guys think about this episode, Mike?
It needs fixing. I'll just say that it needs to be fixed somehow. I know it's like, it feels like a Disney Channel, attempt to adapt this, but maybe not take that approach. Make Don't Disneyfy it.
Mm.
Try to take it seriously. Try to understand what source material is and what it's trying to say. And yeah.
Okay, how about you,
Honestly,
Kenji?
they could have marveled it more. I feel like
Mm.
Like I feel like honestly, because it is a graphic novel, I feel like there were many opportunities that they could have gone. I mean, because ultimately, like I don't know if I mean, like just the subject matter that we're going on is pretty heavy, and it's not like necessarily something that like every it's a very delicate subject matter too that's being handled too, and
That's
if it
fair. Yeah.
and if it doesn't get handled well, if it doesn't get handled properly, it could come off as it can sometimes can come off as almost pandering sometimes.
Oh
You
yeah,
know,
no, definitely.
I
Mhm.
mean, and it's not even saying, which is a real shame because it's like it has such a good message to say, but there's so many ways to say the message without saying the message
Yeah.
verbatim.
Yes, that's such a good
I
point.
mean,
Yes.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I did love the fact that he was like, this has nothing to do with us. Like, if you actually cared about us and actually cared to know who we are, you'd know that we're not Wang,
It's
we're
a
Wong.
long. Yeah.
Yeah. And
That's
I
yeah.
thought that was great. I thought that was a great thing to say, but like, and like, so like, but like, just the way that the teacher was it's hard to say because it's a weird balance because it's like
Mm-hmm.
maybe it's like it's cringy for us because I feel like we've all been there.
Yes.
We've all been in that room talking to
Yes.
somebody that is saying things like that. And yeah, so it's like that. I feel like that's why it's uncomfortable for us. But now I
Mm-hmm.
kind of feel like maybe like it's just maybe that's the point is that
Yes.
this is something that is very uncomfortable for us. So please don't. But here's also the other problem though. It's a message that where the example is clearly meant for a certain demographic that is
Yes.
outside of the Asian demographic. But unfortunately, because of the way that this show has been
Done.
Yeah.
like I said about like I said like how there's no way for Western people who let's face it, they won't know who what Journey to the West is, despite
Mm-hmm.
the fact that it's in so much of like it's the backbone of so much of their own literature.
Yes.
People don't realize exactly what it is. So like the fact that there's no way for people outside of the Asian culture to try and like also kind of come along on the story with them
Mm-hmm.
is a little unfortunate. And like I feel like and because of that, you have this message that is so powerful and it's trying to say something, but the audience that it needs to reach isn't there.
Agreed. No, I think it's agree. I just said like the demographic it's so niche. It's meant
Mhm.
for people who understand it. It's meant this show is meant for Asians. Basically how it does it. It's meant for Asians, but it's because we already go through this. Like we don't need to see this.
Yeah.
This is our everyday life, and that's something I do appreciate is that finally there is a more realistic depiction of our culture or our experiences on in media. That is what I do appreciate. It's not it's it, like as I said since the beginning, like the fact that they did do a lot of research regarding the Chinese family dynamic, how like everything thing. I think is done beautifully. Like Jin's family is done beautifully because it very much speaks of my own. But the thing is because we already know what's going on, is that like everything else just becomes a little annoying. It's extraneous. So as Kenji said, like it's like what the people that actually need to see this to understand it, it's not reaching them. It isn't reaching them. I don't think other than like because the only people I hear about talking about this show right now are Asians. I have no one else talking about this show at all. And I'm like,
Yeah,
And
I can tell
yeah.
you that like when I turn on Disney Plus, it appears like right on my, like watch this kind of stuff. It's like,
Yeah.
okay, I already watched it, but it's like it's always prominent. It's like, okay, so who is this because of the algorithm or is this because,
Yeah.
yeah. So
And it's always recommended next to Wendy Wu, Homecoming Warrior, and Mulan.
see, there you go. That's the thing.
Like
First of
even
all, Wendy Wu Homecoming Worker is awesome. Okay,
it is. No, no, okay, yes.
Wendy Wu slaps. Okay, I don't care what anybody
No, no, no,
says.
no, no. Okay, yeah, no. We're gonna go a little off topic, but we have time. It's okay. But yes, no. Anyone who like talks like shite about Wendy Wu, and I'm just like, they're like, it's not realistic. I'm like, but it's it was
The
it was the
content.
it was the Freddie Wong. It was the Jamie of like what we have now. I'm like,
Yeah.
I love it for what it was. Is it great? No, but like I love it. Like I will die on the hill. Like when you woo Homecoming is an excellent movie for Asians. Anyways, but yeah, so and then this leads to the last episode where we finally get. I'm upset with this episode, but I actually love this episode. This is probably my most favorite episode of the whole show. And that's actually really sad because as much as I love it, I didn't love it that much. But we get it opens really, really weirdly. We get a dream sequence. Jin is the in the show Beyond Repair, he's the handyman fixing the thing. And of course we have Freddie Wong, and then he's just kind of like, what the heck is going on? And then I actually really love Freddie's depiction here, how he goes from Freddie Wong to like Jamie, like throughout this sequence. I actually really like that transition of like going from like the caricature to like speaking to him. But of course, we get finally the exposition of, oh my god, suddenly Guan Ying is talking to him in his dream when Guan Ying like left wei-chen to like deal on his own. She's all like, the equinox is like the time where like heaven and like the mortal realm like opens and for like a moment and things can happen. Wow. I hated that we're just getting all the exposition now. There was no what's that thing called? There was no, oh my gosh, I don't know how to say it. There was no rush for what was going to happen. Suddenly we have a rush now. Like the last 7 episodes, we didn't feel like, oh my god, we need to do it now. We need to save the world now. Suddenly
Yeah, there was no urgency,
there
basically.
was
Yeah.
no urgency. So,
Yeah.
okay, how did you guys feel about this episode, Kenji?
Yeah, it just it would mean one thing if like uh, Guan Yin said like all of this but prior about the equinox. Like if we had heard about all this stuff prior to this, it could be one of those interesting things where it's like he's just remembering something while he's dreaming because that
Mm-hmm.
actually happens with dreams. It's like we can't control it, but sometimes it's like one conscious thought after another, and then like it just kind of morphs into the next thing. It's like I thought I was just in my room. Well, now I'm in the marketplace.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like it's so like that would have worked, but unfortunately, because we didn't have that, it just seems very like convenient that first of all, I'm just finding like everyone just is this like a thing that I don't understand about like maybe it's a cultural thing and I just don't understand. Like, is this like can the gods just commune better through like people who are sleeping? Because it seems like nobody wants to talk to Jin about anything unless he's asleep. So now he has to wake up going, what the heck did I just
That's a
see?
good point.
Technically, yes. I want to say yes in Chinese culture, like dreams are meant to, but at the same time, this is a little even too much. Like to the point that, as you said, like there should have been exposition before. There was stuff that they were building on that shouldn't have been built on, and stuff that they didn't that should have, like the blessed tea herbal thing that we see later on. It's like, why did you guys even like bring that up? Anyways, Mike, how do you feel about the beginning of this episode and this episode in general so far?
The episode in general, it left a lot of stuff unresolved.
Mm-hmm.
And like we don't know what happens to, you know, Jin's mom's tea business now, or like you like you were saying, they plant these seeds, but they don't, you know, care for it or anything like that. They just okay, here's this one thing, and then here's another thing, and then we won't explore that again. Well, but you know, we're just gonna throw it out there anyway. And the stuff that we need to know, we're just gonna throw it in at the very last moment, just because, you know, that's how the series is structured. And it's like, no, that's not how it's supposed to work. We're supposed to know about the autumn equinox, like I don't know how early on, but you know, early enough where you just mention it once. It's like, okay, that's an important thing. We need to hold on to that, and then
Mm-hmm.
you can bring it on later. But no, they just all throw that in right now. we never really get a resolution to, Jin's parents. Obviously, what happened at the end, the kind of the cliffhanger thing, it tells us, but what is their relationship like now? Because it doesn't seem fully resolved. They leave us really hanging with all these things that just I wish that they gave an answer to, because the way the whole thing's been executed is just it doesn't gel really well for me, at least.
No, agrees. And then of course, like what they try to do is like, oh, like Jin's like having like deja vu throughout the whole day, and it's interconnected with his real life. Like apparently, like and like everything is connected, as Wang says in his dream. Like his soccer game apparently is connected to everything. And it's just crazy. And the fact I gotta like do a shout out for Anuj here because he's such a good friend. Because like you can tell he doesn't like believe Jin, but he's all like, you know what? I've never seen you this passionate. I'm just gonna help you. I'm like, Anuj is a good friend.
Yeah.
Anuj is a good friend. Because if it were me, I'll be like, no, cosplay club, see ya. I would have been cosplay club, see ya. I would have been like, you're crazy. You're crazy. I think you ate too much of the green powder. But we also do have, of course, like the parents talking. The parents go like, the parents do kind of have a semi-resolution to their relationships. I said semi. They deal with the small issues.
I'll accept semi. Yes.
They deal with the small issues. They deal with the now instead of the okay. You guys are still kind of financially screwed. You guys are still like, Jin's dad still like isn't doing well with his job.
Let them have their alleyway from everything everywhere all at once moment, okay? Let them have their I'll be happy just doing taxes with you moment, okay? Let them have that moment.
I'll accept that they can't resolve it in the 30 sitcom, resolve in the sitcom time. I get that, but the way they do it is just it's unresolved. They're like, the dad still doesn't have, like you said, the dad doesn't have a job. The mom wasted the savings. Like, that's some pretty heavy stuff. I mean, there's got to be some sort of leading up to a resolution at least, but they didn't do that. So
no, because like those were only put in to cause problems within their marriage. Their marriage, like that's apparently like financial issue isn't a big thing in real life. Ha ha ha. Apparently. But
if only everything could be like a sitcom.
Right,
everything should be like a sitcom.
Right. It's like I want to like spend half of my savings and having no consequences whatsoever other than relationship issues that gets resolved in the last like 30 minutes. Anyways,
and then the cue off song after
I know it's like
every day.
But I really like the scene where like like they talk because it's supposed to be like, oh, like they meet Sun Wukong, and then like the factor I love the scene in the car where she like immediately takes out like the red wipes and gives it to the dad and talks about like, oh, it's so sad, his son is a drug user and he's probably divorced, and I'm like, that's such a Chinese thing to do. Because that's what aunties do. They always think the worst. It's like I love it's stuff like that I appreciate because that's very realistic in like our like culture dynamics. That's actually what I go through every day when I talk to the aunties. But it's like during that scene, like you have like her giving Sun Wukong like the jar of green stuff that apparently Guan Yin blessed, and I felt like there was so much buildup on that jar, and I'm just like, there was really no resolution. It's implied that it helps Sun Wukong recover, and that's why we get that ending and whatever. But at the same time, I'm just like, what was the point of that? That was such wasted time. That was such wasted effort, and that was such wasted it wasted my mentality. I don't know. What do you guys think, Kenji?
I mean, yes, definitely. I love that, like, the way that the mom just in the car, just like this, like talking, like thinking, like they're probably because of this, and this. Like, I remember my mom used to do that with like us in like the car, and like she'll be like driving, and like or rather my dad would be driving, and then of course my dad's white, so like she'd be saying this stuff, and then at one point my dad just goes, "So what if they are?" What if it turns out that they actually are? It does turn out that they're actually from that kind of background. It's actually really sad that you're trying to talk down on them like that.
You're talking back. Don't talk back.
No, she just that's what my mom.
Oh, I
This
would.
is when my mom would do things like. And she just like make a weird face, just being like, "Oh, whatever."
Oh my
like,
god,
whatever,
you're lucky that I get the whole like, no, kids don't talk back to your parents. You're talking back, and I'm like, what did I say wrong?
No, not me. Like I would just be in the back seat and I just remember my dad just saying such and such.
Oh, okay, okay,
like, what if
okay.
that was the case? What if that was the case?
Okay. I thought you said it. I'll be like, wow, you didn't get whooped? No.
I mean, don't we can have these conversations later
yes, totally.
about calling my mom out on things. But anyway,
see, this is what I've been saying. Where was Kenji in the writers? We need Kenji in the writers' room.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
When it's all when the strike is over, but he needs to.
Season 2. Season 2.
I mean, that's how I feel about a lot of this stuff. It's like, but unfortunately, like it's like I feel like a lot of these loose threads. It's like, what will happen to Jin's father? Will he get a new job? What will happen to the herbal business? Looks like you're gonna have to wait for the sequel.
To be continued. See, yeah, it needed the to be continued.
And we had Sandy trying to be the Nick Fury ending from Iron Man 1.
Oh, that wasn't Sandy.
Oh, wasn't that Sandy? Who was that?
That was Princess Iron Fan.
Right. Sorry.
Okay, so I'm gonna bring that up in a bit, but give me one second to go in the comments because Q and Nom Talk Network have been like conversing. So Q was like, on a serious note, my question for you guys, have you ever experienced any expectations from family members to be peer pressure to follow a certain career path they want and want you to follow your dreams? Q, you're talking to Asians.
Yeah, I was gonna say like,
of course. You think my mother wanted me to be an actor? Like, come on. She didn't want me pretending to be a doctor. She wanted me to be a doctor.
Rick, you're talking to Asians, so that's a yes. Yes. Why do you have?
Maybe I think in all parallel universes, like in everything everywhere all at once, there's always that pressure. So yeah, yes. There's never not that pressure.
No. And then Q, what I meant was like want you to be instead of what you want to be. Yeah. Nom Talk Network said absolutely. They did not
see me as this. Trust me.
Oh, trust me neither. It's kind of standard because they want you to be comfortable financially. And then Nom Talk was like, I should be a lawyer. And then Q's like, sorry, I typed too fast. Qbot at Nom Talk. I'm lucky my dad never pressured me into music, but I felt like I wasn't pressured because I love it and I wanted to do it. My dad was like, okay. I knew when I was 11 years old that I wanted to do with my life. Qbot goes, I can picture you as a lawyer for the ACLU. He also redeemed Take a Bite. I'm so sorry, Q. It's just we're just ranting at this point.
We have a lot to say about this show.
I mean, that's the thing. It's like, well, of course, that's what I wanted to be like. Oh yeah, of course, our Asian parents would be really happy if we got into music, as long as it's the violin, the cello.
No,
the piano,
even then, music is a hobby. It is not a career unless you can make bank.
And you better be playing that instrument like you have 12 fingers, like like it's you have to be playing it at an insane level for your parents to be like, you want to. It's like, I mean, thank God for YouTube, because then you'd be like, Mom, you don't understand. I put all these videos up of me playing the violin, and look how much money I'm making off of it. These people are sending me violins for free, Mom, and like.
Oh my gosh! Like, do you watch Two Set Violin on YouTube? I feel like they do talk about this perfectly.
Oh no, I don't. But like now, I gotta check it out.
Two Set Violin. Oh my gosh, I love
them.
Two Set Violin. They're like a pair of Asian guys who are like violinists, and then like they make a lot of money. But it's like funny how they talk about how Asians react to like musicians and how like that it's hilarious. If you can, Two Set Violin. But and
I
then
figured out.
Nom Talk says, I love fighting the good fight. Cute Girl goes, I'm guilty about fighting over my musical knowledge. And then hi, Liza Dean official. Hello. Sorry about that. Hello. Hello, hello. I'm so sorry. I'm a terrible host. I'm not like keeping up with the comments. They write, how does this show compare to other shows that are made as vehicles for Asian pride or even just any Asian representation in mainstream media shows? What's missing from this and those shows from this that those shows have? Or what are all of them missing in your opinions? I know that there's not enough examples. The only other show that came to mind for me was CW's Kung Fu. I haven't seen it, admittedly, but it's hard to come up with predominantly API-led series. And Nom Talk Network says, ahaha, that's a great question. And they say hello. But yeah, so question for you guys. How does this show compare to other shows at other Asian shows? What would you want from this? What do you think this show does well, or the show could have compared to the other shows, and vice versa? I guess. Yes. Mike, Kenji, anyone?
What this show does well, in its what we've been saying before, in its vignette kind of form, is it addresses the whole Asian experience, not the whole. Well, it addresses a good,
portion of it.
The good portion of it. That's yeah. Thank you. But what I wish there was some sort of cohesiveness, or at least all of the directors, or at least try to get all of the directors to understand what how to thread the needle, I guess, so to speak, because each time it goes to one episode to the next, it doesn't seem like the other person watched the previous episode or is doing a good job of setting up for the next episode. So I wish there was more of a cohesiveness or a collaboration, or communication between everybody else to at least give us a clear thought of what's going on and what they want us to get out of the show.
Okay. And how about you, Kenji?
I agree with Michael. Like the show, for the bits and portions of it that it has, like when you look at them as the individual vignettes, it really helps address, the experience of, the American-born Asian Americans. But the thing is, it's like I also feel like each of us also have our own individual experiences, and also we have our own unique. Our cultures are also individually unique. I mean, yes, there are some concepts that we borrow, like, like obviously, I mean, just look at the architecture between Chinese and Japanese, like it's almost identical. But with that said, though, I like what happens with with someone who's ABC is not going to be the same as someone who's ABJ or ABK or ABP, or we can go through all the different acronyms that we want. But so I feel like that's the hardest thing, is because I feel like despite the fact that there is like a uniform like idea of all of us wanting to be like recognized as being like, us being recognized more as Asian Americans, there's also a part of us that also wants to be like, but I also want my culture's representation happening too, and like, which is why, like how we brought up, like in the first episode, they had an opportunity to go with a Japanese American actor, but they didn't. So it's so like it's so which oddly enough, in a weird meta commentary, is also the Asian American experience. It's like what they're talking about, right? I mean, you're Asian, so you get it, right? It's like I guess. I mean, so like, but it's so I feel like it's very hard. Like, I mean, don't get me wrong, there are a lot of Asian centric shows, like she mentioned. Liza Dean Official mentioned she mentioned Kung Fu, but we also have Warrior. Which by the way, if you haven't seen Warrior, it's based on Bruce Lee's like ideas and concepts and stuff. It's awesome. Check it out.
Okay.
There's Warrior. There's also Fresh Off the Boat, which unfortunately that's ended, unfortunately. But like, but you also have things like Beef, which is also amazing. great, stories of like, where you have it's. I just feel like this one is very. It's the problem with this one is that as great as it helps tell the story of the Asian American experience that we've all kind of like as like a unit have more or less have gone through. We Yeah, unfortunately there's like it's very niche. It's very niche and it's not very accessible for anybody, for a lot of people, which is really unfortunate because this would have been a great opportunity to actually tell the story, to share the story of Journey to the West with a Western audience. I mean, I understand like there's probably like a whole like like copyright and licensing like reason why they couldn't do it, but like rather than using like Kugo Ren, they could have drawn more parallels between like the Dragon Ball, like how the Sun Wukong is actually what inspired Dragon Ball and like
well,
that
they
whole
did
thing.
talk
And, like,
about it.
Well, they talk about it. They said, "Oh, is it Dragon Ball?" They gave a whole list of titles. Yeah,
Sayuki. The fact that they included Sayuki, I was like, okay.
they did a deep cut with Mega Man when they said, "Oh, Mega Man." Yeah, that's
right. I know. I was like,
so they could have done it. They could just.
Yeah, but that's the thing. It's like unfortunately, there was a way to make it more accessible. So it's not just Asian people watching this because like there are a lot of us in the world, but we're not the only ones that are watching TV shows. And I feel like the biggest issue is that we want people to understand our story. We want people to see our story. And unfortunately, the way that this is written, it kind of gatekeeps in a way.
Yeah.
The culture.
I agree.
And I'm not trying to like I'm not trying to like dunk on like Asian culture or even on the show for doing that. It's because it's like, obviously sometimes it is good to have a show just for us. It is good to have a show just for us, but it's also one of those things where it's like, as cool as a show is, you sometimes want to share it with people. And it kind of makes it, and unfortunately, this show kind of makes it hard to do that. It kind of expects you to already understand Journey to the West. And unless you took world literature, you're not going to know it. So it's a shame. I feel like that's the biggest thing. It's like the idea is that we need to make shows and movies that tell our story, but can also be told in a way where we can share that culture.
Yeah.
Because we love it when people are interested in our culture. I mean, when you see Westerners and like in Japan and stuff like this, I mean personally, like they care way more about this person like being there because like just especially when they're like really like they're not just tourists, they're like really like study the language and they like understand the culture. Like you see,
they're not just
like,
weebs.
They're not just like they're doing the proper like manners. They're like doing all that stuff. Like when they clearly have obviously have, like appreciating the culture and stuff like that. Like people love when people want to learn like that. So when the show doesn't let you do that, I feel like it's like it's like an Achilles. That is the show's Achilles heel. Is that
it did itself a disservice.
Niche.
Yeah,
it very much did itself a disservice by like just it like I don't want to say like this show does pander because it does a little, but at the same time it does in a way. It's not like it's purposely doing it. It's just obviously meant for the Asian like viewers, but at the same time, as Kenji said, it doesn't allow itself to be seen by everyone else, and that is a shame. And so I hope that answers your question. But let's get on to the rest of the episode before like we get too, because I still want to talk about how in the end what you guys felt and what you guys want from this. So of course they go to the soccer game. You find out that this whole exposition with the whole Kugo Ren thing and everything has been happening in the comic books. I'm sorry, as much as I love that shout out to like anime and that kind of stuff, I just felt it was done so cheap. It felt so cheap that like suddenly like, Anuj is all like, oh, Kugo Ren chapter like whatever episode 57, and it's like, what? And apparently everything has been like done in the comic book And it's like them just like, yeah, now we know his plan because it was exactly in the comic book. And I'm just like, no, come on. And like the reference to like, oh my gosh, there's armies. I love how there's always been references that Nyomo Wang is like, right, like his armies are whatever, and we see no indication of said armies. And he's like, oh yeah, his 7 brothers. And I'm like, we've seen 0 of his 7 brothers. There's just again, they're bringing attention to all these things that didn't need to be brought attention to. We didn't need to know all this stuff, especially in the last episode. Then they're talking about like, oh, okay, what if he's doing an uprising? Why isn't he in heaven? It's like, oh, they're doing the mole man thing where they're gonna like drill from like Fantastic Four, where they drill from the bottom and like disrupt everything from the foundation. This obviously was done because you can tell they were running out of time to cover everything without, I guess, adding more, but they still added more. Pissed me off, not gonna lie, with storytelling. Of course, they go to the game. Apparently, Jin got Riz because he gets Amelia and they kiss with that really awkward camera angle where you can tell they didn't really kiss. Their faces just resting right there next to each other at that weird angle. And I'm like, cameraman, why did he go so low? Go higher. You can tell they didn't kiss. But I thought it was awkward. I don't know. I don't think they have really.
What were the chemistry tests like? Camera. Like,
no, like, the dude they did in that Jonah Hill movie where they literally CG'd the kiss, and I don't know if you heard about that. The most recent Jonah Hill movie, like they actually like basically due to like scheduling and like because of like pandemic stuff, like they couldn't be in the same place and they couldn't kiss on the day that they needed to film it. So they filmed each of them individually, just leaning in and like pretending to kiss, and then they just CG'd the 2 of them doing it together.
Oh my god!
I'm just saying that would have been better than what we got.
Oh, legit, honestly, because okay, yeah, I get it. These are kids. These are actually like young actors, and you don't want that. And I get that. But at least angle it better or do something that you can tell.
It feels like someone's just shooting it from like
you don't want the Stranger Things.
I'm just, don't mind me, guys. I'm just filming it from like my hand, using a camcorder on my hand.
Yeah, that angle was so awkward. I was like,
why? I mean, I will say like one of my biggest it was, I would say, I did not like, I mean, it did seem, I don't know if anybody's seen Big Wolf on Campus, but like the scene, the whole thing about like, it's just very much like I meant in the movie. Like there's like a friend that like the main character is always talking to, and the reason why they're able to defeat all the villains is because their friend is a nerd and they'd watched all the horror stuff, movies and stuff. So it's like, oh, how do they kill them in the movie? So like, it's like, so like that's how I feel like this whole thing. But it feels like, dude, a nerd just being like, really, you don't know about this? Like, it's in the comic book, man. Like, how did you not know about this, man? Like, I mean, it's not like it's part of your people. It's like your divine people.
What?
You and your divine. People that that are above us. Like, how do you not know about this? It's like I feel like it's like just because it's in a comic book, I really wanted wei-chen to just be like, just because it's in a comic book doesn't mean this is gonna work. Like, just something like that would have been great.
Yeah.
No, I agree.
Yes.
but like,
we didn't get.
But just the fact that wei-chen is like, yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
Even though we've already proved that the guy with the chainsaw hands isn't up in heaven, but like, let's just go for it. It was very, it was just, I mean, I also want to point out just, can we please stop having the trope of the public who is not involved with what's going on are friggin' idiots? Like,
I don't know. I kind of like that.
I kind of like that. I'll be the contrarian in this, and I kind of like that.
I actually thought that was really funny.
It is, it is contrived and it is, a little derivative.
Like the principal
but
going, like,
it was so much fun to watch them. Like, How do they do that? It's all
Anusha's,
CGI. It's like,
or like
wait a minute.
Anusha's parents are loaded, and I'm like, I actually did like that.
I laughed. I
I
did
mean,
laugh.
laughed.
I mean, a couple jokes here and there
Mm.
is fine.
Okay.
But then the second things started getting real for real, like, why is everyone just sitting in the bleachers like,
Like,
man, dude, cosplay club is like on fire, dude.
Yeah, even the
yeah.
bullies got
everyone,
like, oh my gosh, the bullies were so into this.
it's,
But anyways, I understand where you're coming from, Kenji. I personally really
Yeah.
liked it. I thought it
Yeah.
was funny. But I do understand where you're coming from. And but we do I actually really liked the fight scene. Like the fight scene really reminded me of stuff that you will see in Chinese dramas. So I actually really love the fight scene. Like I was actually so hyped when I was watching that. I was like, oh my god, this is really good. This is really good. And then like of course we get the of course you find out that Sun Wukong is fine, and then like dad and like son like defeat Wong together, and of course I called it. Jin is the fourth scroll. I called it. I told you. I was like, I called this since the second episode. I was like, you know what? Jin's the fourth scroll. He's not the guide. He's the fourth scroll. And I was like, I knew it.
And
I'm
she's just
looking at Kenji's reaction. Kenji, share with the class what is going through your mind during this time.
it is such cliched ending. It's just like it was in you all along, and I'm just like, this is the same as Kung Fu Panda, isn't it? But like there's no secret ingredient. I really, really did not like that. Like, because I, I don't. There's there is so much more room to grow this story without it having been that like Jin was the fourth scroll, or at least if it is that Jin is the fourth scroll, at least have it be earned
Mm.
because it just seems so convenient. I mean, like have that be like a season 3 reveal or something like that. Like have that be that that's how the series ends is with Jin being the fourth scroll because I actually think it's much more interesting that like that there's like that it's like we haven't maybe we weren't able to find the fourth scroll like but it's like Jin I hope you can is a wei-chen being like Jin I hope you can still be my guide I hope you would still want to be my guide I know things might be rough I know that Amelia just kissed you congrats by the way fist bump but I'm really hoping that we can you would still want to be my guide kind of thing so at least that like it's like a very like good way of like leading on to season 2 like it already hints at season 2 without giving us the Nick Fury Iron Man ending that we got. I mean, we can still have it, but like, I don't know, like it's like I said, it feels like this was a show that if it was meant for 6 episodes, it was meant for hour-long 6 episodes,
yes.
and then like it seems like it was meant for twice the amount of time.
Honestly, I feel like this whole show could just been done in a movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
This should have been a movie instead of a TV show, not gonna lie.
Yeah.
I mean, we would have saved a lot of trouble.
I just see
Honestly.
Kenji defeated, and I feel so bad.
I mean, here's the thing. I could totally agree with that. I could totally see that, and like have it be like have it be like a 2 hour movie. But if you want to tell like all these different stories, tell as many stories as you can, like want to develop things, it's like okay, like if you want to leave room for sequels, it's like okay, well then let us know you have like movie 1 is called like Scroll 1 and Scroll 2,
Avatar, the last
Scroll 3. Yeah, basically the last Avatar of this thing, man. Like it works.
The formula is there. It's been proven to work. Yes. So why not?
Yeah.
It's just don't. I mean, I guess make sure that if it can fit 4 movies, obviously don't
Yeah.
make it. If it can fit 4 movies, make it 4 movies. But otherwise, leave it only at 3 because we all know what happens when you try to make 4 movies out of something that's really only one book. I'm looking at you, Peter Jackson. Anyway, but anyways,
Okay. How about Mike? How did you feel about the big reveal? Jin is the Force Girl.
It was cheesy, but I expected it because
Yeah.
it is a Disney show after all. So I expect the younger audiences, especially the younger Asian audiences, that it's probably more geared to. They would probably like, oh, that's cool. It's. I could see myself being as the Force Scroll. I could see myself being vital to the story, progressing the story further. I can see myself being the hero. So
Mm,
that part I could kind of understand, but
yeah.
if I was, you know, saying it, not if I, seeing it as an adult, it's just like, yeah,
Yeah.
it's too easy. It's too easy.
We're too old for this show. We're too
Yeah,
old
we're
for
too
this show.
old, honestly.
getting too old for this.
Kate in LA says didn't know you guys were streaming. So hi, Kate in LA.
Oh,
But yeah, no, agree. Like for me, I was like, as I said, I totally called it, and I was also a little upset. I was like, okay, there has been such illusion talked about the Force Girl about it being power, but there was still also no resolution to that at all either. It was just him being the Force Girl. What did that
Hmm.
entail? What did that like consequences of that? There was technically no resolution to that either.
Yep.
And of course, what? Yes, Kenji?
I was just saying, like, does this mean that they're gonna now be coming? Does that mean that season 2 means that Jin now has a bullseye on his head?
I
Like,
guess
is
because
Jin gonna learn how to fight between seasons? Because like,
Jin's the Avatar. But of
well, he's the
course,
fourth scroll, so kind of.
yeah. So of course, this the show ends with a cliffhanger. The show in the end, you actually have like this random lady, which I actually had to go look it up because I actually thought it was Sandy too. It was
Yep.
not. It was Princess Iron Fan. And people who don't know Journey to the West, Princess Iron Fan is the Bull Demon's wife. That's in the thing. So that probably reason why they brought her back. But anyways, she comes back. Apparently, either she kidnaps his parents or something happens to his parents, and she's goes, "难道你不要看到你爸爸妈妈吧?" And I actually really like how it ended with Jin going like, "Can you say it slower? My Chinese isn't that great." I think that was the
That's
perfect.
the whole thing, though. I wish we got more of that. It's like, you know
Yes.
what? My Chinese is not good. I like like we were talking about earlier, the chicken feed part. Like, you know what? I don't want chicken feed. Those are those kind of moments where I wish we got more of, but
Yes.
it's just it went
So yeah.
everywhere,
No,
basically.
agreed. I'm like, if you wanted like an ABC, like an American born Chinese, then that's the perfect example of that. The fact that you're like, you hear like people talking really fast and you're just kind of like, I'm sorry, I didn't understand that. I might have the space, but doesn't mean I have it's like
I
it's
just started Duolingo, so come
yeah.
on, slow down.
Oh man.
I thought that it ended perfectly with that. But that's it. And of course it hits. Oh my god, Kenji, are you okay? You're just like
No, I agree. Like, I thought it was
okay.
a great, I thought it was a great way to like kind of bumper it. But of course, like
Mm,
the thing is, like the fact that we had to like we don't the fact that you and I both were like, oh, is that Sandy?
yeah.
No, it's Princess Iron Fan. We're like,
Yeah.
this is
Yeah.
why I'm saying like those little pop ups and this like
Should
into
have
the
Those
Spider Verse
exposition
style
pop-ups, yeah.
yeah.
would have really
They have it in the
helped.
comic book too, those little ones, those little
Yep.
blurbs.
Exactly, which is
Yep.
why I'm
Yeah.
saying it's like it
Or
would have
I'll
been.
just
Flip the
This is what I
ruin,
mean.
yes.
Like, because
yeah,
that's what I'm
see?
saying. Like,
They
even
have it like
Asian
in the
people
little
who
blurbs right there. They could have
Yep.
just done that. Yeah,
that's what I'm
exactly.
saying.
That's a
Like,
good point.
it's almost gatekeeping even for ourselves
No,
because
agreed.
That's what I was thinking
because
too.
like we
We're
even know the story and we're
we're
still
Yes.
having a hard time
It's because
believing
the
we're making tokens out of ourselves, basically.
it.
We're tokening ourselves.
legit like yeah like there was no okay so that's one major thing about Chinese dramas like I guess what they don't understand is like each character no matter how many different outfits they change always has one like special thing one like hair thing one because Princess Iron fan, of course, in all of her depictions, has a giant fan. She had no fan.
Just have her.
Which is why we saw her as, so Sandy.
Yes, she should have. Yes, I think Kenji, you said it perfectly. She should have sat there and had like a fan, just like having that, like that like. Been... Oh my gosh, where's my Chinese stand? Hold on.
We've seen with Mortal Kombat, we have characters that have iron fans. So
just her going that like just sitting there like would have been like okay, indication. That would have been amazing. Yeah. But no, we did not get that. And yeah, so I was kind of like, I actually had to look it up because I was so confused at that ending for when I first watched it. But anyways, that's how it ends. It indicates there is a season 2. Hopefully, maybe, I don't know. I don't know if I want that. So yeah, so the season's over. We actually got some resolution to the main storyline, I guess. What did you guys feel? Well, I actually don't have to really ask how you guys feel because we've been ranting about it for a while.
We've been ripping this thing to shreds.
But what do you want to see from the second season if there is going to be a second season?
I'll say this. It feels like it was written in a way where they weren't exactly hoping to be renewed for a season 2, but they would leave like that opening, just the door just slightly open just in case.
Yeah.
But if there was going to be a season 2, just take everything what we've said and just implement it in season 2, basically. Have some clear collaboration, like bring everyone to the writer's room and have a game plan. Like, let's do this way, yeah. That's all I have to say about it.
Kaden Ellis says they're not going to be able to afford Miss Yao anymore.
Michelle Yeoh.
Yeah.
No way.
I think that's probably why, like, everything was so cut and everything was cut because all the money went to her.
We basically had to give all the money to Key and Michelle, guys. I don't know what to say, guys.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. Some of the monkey makeup looked like they like took casts from like the original Planet of the Apes movies, and they're just gonna like, hey, let's kind of like work this in a little bit.
No, like, why did Sun Wukong have a human face, but his kid had like a monkey face? Why did Wei-chen have the monkey face? Is it because Wei-chen's mom was probably just like not an ordinary?
Oh, she was a human. Oh, she was a human. No,
was the god. No, Mike, you have the comic books. Wei-chen's mom is a normal monkey in the comic.
Oh God, I mean, possibly, but like, I mean, it also could be that that Sun Wukong is like, I've mastered I've mastered the 72 form.
Asexual reproduction
forms. No, I'm not even that. Just being like, I have mastered the 72 forms. You want to see my monkey form? You'll never see my monkey form. It's like he's like that guy that never takes a bad photo.
Actually, that's in the comic books. That's actually in the comic book. That was actually it's actually in the comic book talking about identity and like portraying an identity that you don't want other people to see or what you want people to see and not to like underestimate. It's actually a really, really deep storyline. The comic's really deep. It's really good.
Well, then let's see some of that in season 2. Definitely do the pop-ups for sure. I mean, like, I just feel like if this show is going to have a longevity, it needs to the writing needs to be a little bit tighter. The fight definitely have good fight sequences. I mean, more Martial Club, please, more Martial Club.
Oh, no,
right? And also, like, because I absolutely love that final battle. Like the way that it played out, I was like, this is beautiful. This is fantastic.
Yes.
So like, definitely, I would love to see some more of that style of fighting for sure. But yeah, definitely just if it's in order for it to have longevity where we can keep having more story, more journeys, more seasons of this, it needs to be able to be not just something that celebrates us, but it also not just celebrates, but is also accessible.
Yes.
So
I think that's perfect way to like say that, because I'm just like, as a Chinese, as an ABC myself, I thought that was an excellent portrayal of what my experiences, and like the uses of music and everything, like that ending song, like Xin Tai Ran, da, 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 Xin Tai Ran. It's one of my favorite songs. It's one of the songs my mom sings on karaoke. I was like loving it. But no, agreed. It's a good show. I think it does really good with the ABC experience, but as I said, as long-term wise, it needs to do more. It needs to improve more, and it also just cannot cater just to us. It has to be able to like allow other people to come into this universe, come into like the storyline, and be able to understand and accept it as well. We went way over time, so I think we might just end it here. Yeah, we went, it's like an hour and 21 minutes.
Hey, that says a lot. We had a lot to say, and yeah.
I also had a really long answer for that one question.
But honestly, like, you know, if you want to keep this conversation going, definitely go to the Discord and talk more, and we'll be there. And if you want to ask us questions and this stuff, definitely check out the Discord. But we are running out of time, so I do have to end this, unfortunately, even though we're having such a great time. But that is all the time we have today, and we talked about episodes 7 and 8, the final 2 episodes of American Born Chinese on Disney Plus. I want to thank you all so much for tuning in, and keep the conversation going. Be sure to check out and join our Discord server, because we will love to hear what you guys think. And if you guys have any questions for us, we will love to, like, you know, we love to chat, as you can tell. Shout out to my amazing guests. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you, Kenji. Thank you, Mike, for being here. And Kenji, let's start with you. Where can we find you on the socials?
You can find me on TikTok and Instagram at Kenjinator. You can also find me on Twitch at wei-chen. I'm also part of a Dungeons and Dragons Twitch stream with my father, KD in LA. We actually are I think we might be having a session tomorrow at noon Pacific time. So check us out. It's at KD in LA.
Awesome. And Mike, where can we find you on the socials?
Yes, you can find me at I am Michael J. Lee on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. And if you want to find some of my writing, you can find me at thenerdsofcolor.org. We Live Entertainment, and that's in LA.
And you can find me on all over the socials. You can find me here on Twitch Monday, Wednesdays, Fridays from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time at My Hamachi. I play a lot of weird games. You can find me on YouTube at JPalace Yaya, where I talk about Chinese culture, Chinese history. I'm going to do a Journey to the West series soon, so keep an eye out for that. But you can also follow me on other socials such as Instagram, TikTok, and all that fun stuff, either at JPalace or at My Hamachi. And of course, for here, you can listen to show and all of our shows on Google Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and of course here on Twitch. If you're not following us, what are you doing? You should do it now. But yes, make sure all of our platforms are on at Nom Talk Network. Tune into our next show, which is on Wednesday with Who Framed Roger Rabbit. Ooh, classic. Classic.
It's a classic.
I know. Thank you so much for joining us. I am your host, Yaya. And until then, you please, everyone, have a nom-rific day. 再见啦. Bye-bye.